Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review for Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. This one came out in 1995. It is starring Donald Pleasence, Mary Ann Hagen, and Paul Rudd. What the fuck? And was directed by Joe Chappelle. So, initial thoughts before we dive deep. That's pretty much the prototypical formula here on Days of Darkness. If you're new, hello, how you doing? First thoughts, better than 5. So I'll take it. It's better than 5 for sure. A majority of the problems I have with this movie are problems that were brought on by the decisions made in the process of making Halloween 5. Mainly the cult of Thorn stuff. It's just not for me. I mean, I understand, like I said before, a lot of directors and a lot of writers want to explore this character of Michael Myers and what drives him and what motivates him. In this case, he's being controlled by a pagan cult. Other times, people are always trying to explain away the reasons why Michael Myers is what he is. For me, I like it being left up to mystery. Like I said ad nauseum, and I'm sure I'll say it again. I don't like there to be any motivation. I like the little kid that snapped and killed his sister. That's just me. That's just how I view the character. But I can't really, hate on the decisions too much from this one, just because, again, like before, Dominique Othenin-Girard literally said when asked, hey, why did you put in the Man in Black? Hey, why did you put this tattoo on Michael Myers' wrist? Hey, yada, yada, yada. He goes, oh, I just wanted to. Fuck you. It's for the other people to worry about when whoever makes 6. Yeah, thanks, bud. So, they worked with what they had, so I can't really bitch too much about it, but we do get a lot of cult activity here. We see that the Man in Black is in fact Dr. Wynn, who, if you don't know who that is, I don't blame you, because at this point in the series, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for legacy characters that they can use, which is definitely a habit that they will continue to display multiple times throughout this entire franchise. But Dr. Wynn was the character, or the doctor, or whatever, that Loomis was arguing with in the 1978 original. Dr. Wynn says, well, now, for God's sakes, he can't drive a car. And then Loomis gives the line of, he was doing very well last night. Perhaps someone around here gave him lessons. And, I guess Dr. Wynn gave him lessons on how to drive, which is a very funny visual to think about. But yes, it is Dr. Wynn who has been who rescued Michael Myers from prison in 5 and is now the leader of this satanic pagan death cult, which sounds really cool, but just doesn't fit the Michael Myers aesthetic for me personally. But I know there's a lot of people that fucking love this movie, and hey, you like ice cream, I like cake. There's nothing wrong with it. Like what you like. Just not my cup of tea. As far as the other stuff with the decisions made in this movie, there is a child introduced in this, which, by the way, we have to address the elephant in the room here, that unfortunately Danielle Harris was not brought back for Halloween 6, even though I'm pretty sure by all accounts she asked for like a very not high amount of money to appear in this movie, and they were just like, well, we can hire someone cheaper. Yeah, class act, guys. But Jamie Lloyd does have a baby, and it is revealed more so in the producer's cut. It's very just lightly implied here, if really at all. They really don't bring up who the child's father is a whole lot, really, at all, in the theatrical cut, which is what we were looking at today. But by all accounts, the father is intended to be Michael Myers, which is just stupid to me. It just doesn't make any sense. It's edgy for the sake of being edgy and just doesn't fit the character for me. Shock value for the sake of shock value and just doesn't fit the franchise. But that's mostly a producer's cut thing. It is not really present at all in the theatrical cut. And by the way, I did watch the theatrical cut for this, not the producer's cut. And the main reason why is because I don't own it. It's the main reason why we did not look at the producer's cut for this. I am aware of the drastic changes that are made from that film to this one. In a lot of ways, they're completely different movies. And if there is a demand for it, I will seek it out and we will review that as a little bonus for the series review. But for right now, and unless there's, like I said, some huge demand, we're just going to stick to the theatrical cut. Moving on, speaking of the baby is really the main, I guess, MacGuffin for this movie, for lack of a better term. Because, Michael is, in this timeline, infected with that Curse of Thorn, which compels him to need to kill all of his bloodline, just because. That is what motivates him, that is what drives him, and basically makes him inhuman in this world. But Jamie Lloyd does escape with the baby. Eventually, she is just unceremoniously killed by Michael Myers. God damn, what is going on? I gotta cut back on the coffee. Anyway, but she's just randomly killed. Not randomly, but very early on for a pretty important character at this stage of the franchise. But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, placeholder Jamie Lee is... not Jamie Lee, Jamie Lloyd is killed. No flack to the actress who played Jamie in this movie. I think she did a perfectly fine job, but I want Danielle Harris, damn it. And we do get her later on in this franchise, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, so she's killed. She does leave the baby in the bathroom. And then, again, I think it's a bus stop or train station bathroom or something along those lines. A public restroom is where she leaves this baby in this little cabinet. And he just happens to be discovered by Paul Rudd. Discovered by Ant-Man. No, he's discovered by Tommy Doyle, who obviously is one of the children from the original Halloween. And yeah, Paul Rudd playing Tommy Doyle. Obviously at this point, Paul Rudd was not Paul Rudd yet. I think overall he does fine with what he's given. I don't think he's terrible in this movie. Definitely very awkward, very wooden, very just a weird guy, which obviously I think that's what they were going for. If you experience something like he experienced as a child, you're gonna be a little fucked up. But I definitely think, performance-wise and directing-wise, they could have took it in some different directions and maybe had the performance be just different. There was some, again, I'm not going to just say, oh, it was bad, and then not give any critique. It was fine. I just think they could have, went in some different directions with it. But it is what it is. He does discover this little baby, which Michael is trying to kill the baby. And Tommy Doyle obviously wants to stop Michael Myers because of what happened to him 15 years ago. And then, the Strode family also get involved in this with Kara and her young son, who I cannot remember the name of, which we'll get to him in a second. But yeah, we get the Strodes with those two and also her parents, her mom and her piece of shit dad. Holy fuck, this guy's an asshole. Definitely, has that 90s stench of how do we make a character just as dislikable as possible, which in horror movies is always, to me, I'm not saying you can't have that douchebag asshole character, but to me, all of the dislike and the vitriol from the audience should be focused mainly on the villain, which in this case would be Michael Myers and Dr. Wynn and the, Cult of Thorn. But you just randomly have this just piece of shit asshole dad. Like, and don't get me wrong, his death is very satisfying, and, I took great pleasure in seeing a piece of shit get his head blown to smithereens. But there's something about, what if he were a kind and loving, nurturing father? To me, that gets a much more powerful reaction from the audience and reminds you that, hey, we all love Michael Myers, but at the end of the day, he's kind of a piece of shit, and you want to see him get his comeuppance. And maybe that's just me being old school about it. But hey, tomato, nothing that I would really gripe about too much. So let's just go ahead and move on. One thing with the Strode family that I found just fucking weird, and I don't understand it, and it's definitely my biggest gripe with this movie as a standalone written movie. So Michael Myers has the Curse of Thorn, which draws him to kill his bloodline. That's his whole motivation. That's his whole reason for being. The young Strode kid, I can't remember his name. It's driving me fucking nuts. Give me a second. Danny Strode. So we have a young Danny Strode here, who, for anyone who needs the very brief rundown, Laurie Strode was adopted by the Strode family. She is by blood part of the Myers family with, her older sister Judith, the middle child Michael, and then her. And she was adopted as a young girl after the shit went down with Michael. And she was adopted into the Strode family, where, in this case we have her, I believe it's her cousin Cara, and now her son Danny. Danny in this movie is having the same sort of visions that we are told that Michael was having, which led him to killing his older sister and starting the whole Curse of Thorn thing over again. I'm pretty sure it's been like a generational thing with this family forever now, but whatever. But he's having the same visions. The problem I have with that is there is no blood relation between Danny and Michael. There's none. It's an adoptive family thing. Laurie is in no way related blood-wise to the Strode family. And if this Curse of Thorn thing is supposed to be a bloodline curse, why the fuck do they even give a shit about Danny? I don't get it. It's a very, very glaring plot hole to me. If someone can maybe explain it, of why this is, to me, it's just very weird. I don't know if they target more than just the Myers family. I don't know. But to me, I was always led to believe this is a Myers family curse. And all of a sudden, we just have this kid that is in no way related to Myers at all, that is now seemingly about to have this same curse befall him, which obviously does not come to fruition, because after this movie, his whole timeline is erased, pretty much. But, just found it weird. Very odd, very glaring problem of the movie. Like I said, I can forgive like goofy shit here and there, but that to me is like an actual glaring writing issue. So it doesn't really play up to much consequence in the movie. It's not like we have a Halloween 4 ending when Danny ends up killing his mom or anything like that. It's just he ends up just being a kid in peril at the end of the day anyways. So I don't know. It was just weird. And yeah, but I'm gonna stop bitching about that. Let's talk about Michael Myers. Drastic improvement from Halloween 5 for sure. Let's talk about the mask. Again, Why does it look any different than in the past? I'm just gonna have to let it go at this point because I'm tired of bitching about it. But it does look different, but I will say it looks a lot better. Like 10 times better than the mask in 5. And honestly, it looks better than the mask in 4. So as far as, masks are concerned, this is up there probably with one of my favorites. It's pretty good. George P. Wilbur does come back to portray Michael Myers. He was obviously the guy behind the mask in part 4. And so he's back for part 6, which is awesome. I think he does just fine. I don't think he is just a standout amazing Michael by any means, but I think he does fine. I think he has the right build for it. There's some shots with him where he is in very stark lighting and he looks a little weird. But that's more so wardrobe issue and stuff like that. I can't really put a whole lot of that on him, but as far as the physicality towards the role, I think he does just fine. I don't think there's any, if you really look at the Michael Myers character from a physicality standpoint, it's really not that difficult. But some people that you'll find throughout this franchise make it more difficult than it needs to be. But Wilbur is not one of those guys, so I think he does just fine. And another guy we got to talk about in this movie is Loomis. That's right, Dr. Loomis is in this movie. Obviously, by this point, Donald Pleasence is getting up there in age, and unfortunately, this actually ends up being his last movie before he would pass away. I'm pretty sure, in fact, he died before this movie was even released. So, the big thing that would indicate that is there's an in memory of Donald Pleasence at the end of this movie, which is very weird considering the ending of this movie. But, obviously Donald Pleasence is up there by this point, so there's not a whole lot that he does throughout this film. Very dialogue heavy, which is, I'm not saying he was like an action hero in the past ones or anything like that, but we don't get a whole lot of him in this movie, but from what we do get of him, again, always fucking phenomenal. I think they dialed back him being this deranged fucking lunatic. Like 4, he was definitely snapping quite a bit, and then 5, it's just over. He's fucking just as bad as Michael in some ways. Like, he's just a goddamn crazy person. I can't even articulate it, but they definitely dialed it back. He's retired now. In this theatrical cut, we don't get an explanation for this, but his scars are gone. His just randomly shape-shifting scars that we see in 4 and 5. But they're gone. We do hear in the producer's cut that he had plastic surgery to get rid of them. And also, he had a stroke, which caused him to retire. And none of that is explained in the theatrical cut, but just a little tidbit of information for you. But yeah, I think he does great. I think the ending is a little abrupt. And I guess we're supposed to believe that he's killed by Michael Myers. Essentially what happens is our protagonists make their way to the headquarters of the Cult of Thorn. They do end up getting cornered by Michael, who is again trying to kill this baby, which by all intents and purposes is supposed to be his baby, but he kills his family, so okay, he's trying to kill his kid. All right. But Paul Rudd, I can't stop calling him Paul Rudd, I'm sorry. Tommy Doyle does end up just stabbing him with 3 or 4 syringes of stuff. We're not really told what it is, but it slows him down to the point where Michael and Tommy and Kara just beat the living shit out of him. And mostly fucking Tommy. Tommy just lays into this motherfucker, which I can't blame him. I mean, this is a guy that basically ruined your fucking life. So, yeah, man, go for it. He fucking annihilates this masked fucker. And Green Goop, he starts bleeding green slime. So that's all right, okay, like whatever. But he does end up getting the fuck beaten out of him, and then just randomly we just smash cut to the car, and Tommy Doyle's like, "You need to come with us to Loomis," and he's like, "Oh, I have business to take care of here." They drive away, and all of a sudden, like, Loomis is just standing outside this hospital, and we just get a shot of Michael's mask on the ground, and we hear Loomis scream bloody murder, and then that's the end. Okay. All right. I know, the producer's cut ending is just as weird, if not weirder, where Michael is stopped by stones. Like, they lay out a circle of stones, and he gets caught in it, and he's just stops. He's just stone cold frozen. And then it's revealed that Loomis now has the scar, which may lend a little credibility to the whole Danny Strode being afflicted with the Curse of Thorn, if just anybody can get it. Who knows? But in this movie, it doesn't make any sense. Moving on. But that's where we kind of get that scream that we hear at the end of this cut, as him discovering that, oh my god, I have the Michael Myers curse now. So, as far as the theatrical ending is concerned, very abrupt, very weird, I'll even say off-putting a little bit. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess we're done here. All right. Like, it's just, I don't know. Wasn't really a great ending, but I will say, overall, this movie's fun. This movie's a good time. Definitely some stuff you have to overlook logic-wise, but if you're willing to do that, I think you'll have a perfectly good time with this movie. Didn't blow me away or anything like that, but I don't regret watching it like I regret watching 5 every time I stomach that movie for whatever reason. But yeah, man, that'll do it for the review portion of this video. But you know what we gotta do now, baby. We gotta get to the blood, the guts, and the gory bits. We gotta get to my kill of the film. Stick around. As I already said, Halloween 6, or Halloween the Curse of Michael Myers, since they dropped the numerical for some reason, is a drastic improvement from Part 5 in a numerous amount of ways. And one of those ways is the amount of blood and guts we get in this movie. Holy fuck. I know a lot of it is cut from the producer's cut of the movie, but in the theatrical cut, we get a lot of the red stuff, and I am all about it. We get one of the nurses from the cult getting the back of her head impaled on a spike, which is a great way to kick us off. Absolutely fucking brutal. Why are there just random spikes protruding from this wall? I don't know, but it's cool. So we get a good wall spike. When Jamie Lloyd escapes the cult, she ends up getting this truck. She tries to alert the trucker, who is just standing in the rain, and what? Steve Austin style. But Michael does end up sneaking up behind him, and he snaps his neck to the point that he pretty much decapitates this poor fucker, man. And you see it too, the top of his spine sticking up. It's fucking gross. Really good kill there. Jamie Lloyd, as I said, is very abruptly killed in the early going of this movie to make room for our new final girl, Kara, which ends up bearing no significance to the rest of the franchise, but whatever. But she does end up getting killed when Michael impales her on a corn thresher. Fucking brutal, man. Holy shit. What a shitty way to treat your fucking niece / baby mama, according to the producer's cut. But anyway, good kill there overall. I love the mom's death, just her scrambling through the bed sheets hanging in the yard. And then Michael just fucking annihilates her with an axe. you know, very much off screen, but we do get some really solid blood splatter and very brutal and very akin to that 78 style of letting your mind kind of, you know, tell you what happened as opposed to showing you. But obviously it's a little more bloody than that. But, you know, we got to keep up with the times, right? I'm sure a lot of people's kill of the film will be the head pop. You know, when he gets that piece of shit Papa Strode down in the basement and just stabs him in the chest and just takes him over to the electrical panel and just buzzes this motherfucker to the point where his head pops like a fucking balloon, which is great. And if it weren't for this next kill, it would very much so be my kill of the film. It is my runner-up. Phenomenal, awesome kill. But for me, it's going to be that poor random fucker when Michael is in pursuit of, I believe, Tommy and Kara, if I'm not mistaken. But he is in pursuit, and this poor fucker just gets caught in the crossfire, and Michael pushes his face up against the bars of this, I guess it's bars trying to, you know, keep... There's just steel bars keeping him from, you know, our protagonists. And his way of breaking down these bars is by pushing this guy's fucking head through the bars. He treats him like he's a fucking mound of Play-Doh, dude. I mean, he just crushes this guy's head through the bars. You know, you don't get a whole lot of visual, but enough to know what's happening, and it's fucking brutal. Lots of crunchy bits. Awesome stuff. And you even see a brief flash of, you know, Michael stepping over him, and this guy's head is just a fucking pancake, dude. It's fucking disgusting. Easily my kill of the film for Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. And yeah, guys, that'll do it for the video. Like I said, if you can stomach 5, I think 6 is a fine follow-up. You know, it has to deal with a lot of stuff that was left over from 5, but overall, I think it's fine. You know, I don't regret watching it. I'm not going to say it's just an awful fucking movie or anything like that, but, you know, a lot of this stuff doesn't even bear any consequence because our next movie is H2O, which completely and utterly deletes 4, 5, and 6. So if you're keeping up with the timeline, yeah, all this stuff I just talked about is about to not matter at all. So, but yeah, guys, that'll do it for the video. Thank you, as always, for stopping by, supporting the dream. And without further ado, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And for the love of all things gory, keep watching horror. All right, guys, have a good day.